Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's marketing training. I believe we are successfully live now. Facebook has changed some of its settings as far as going live, but really good to be with you today. Happy Friday. We made it to the end of another week of teletherapy. Some of you thinking about possibly going back soon. Lots to think about. But this week we're talking about something really important, psychology today. This is a topic I really enjoy talking about. It's something, and psychology today in general is a resource that is fairly polarizing in the therapy world. Some people swear by it and think that it's really wonderful. Some swear it doesn't work because they've never been able to get clients through it. And my philosophy is that psychology today is always worth a shot in your business. Why? Because for a very small fee, you can get in front of your ideal clients. So today we're going to be talking about how we can optimize your profile. If you are catching me live, thank you for being here. Please say hello in the comments. Let me know where you're joining from. If you're catching the replay, I know a couple people had clients right now. Maybe you're going to come back and watch this weekend. Drop a hashtag replay into the comments. That will make sure that I can see any questions you have and address any items as you go and start updating your Psychology Today profile. If this is your first time joining a live with me, hi, thanks for being here. My name is Anna Walker. I am a web and marketing strategist, and I work with private practitioners just like you to get booked out with clients you love and who love you. We are all about updating your marketing, updating your website, updating the way that you think about your practice in a way that is going to help you be successful, help you book the clients that you enjoy the most and that you can ultimately help the most. This is about helping you help more people. So that is what this group is all about. It's what these trainings are all about. I come on here live every single week and we talk about a really relevant topic around marketing in the private practice world. So let's dive in here. Psychology today is about to be more important than it's ever been. And it's always been important from my perspective, but it's going to be even more important because experts everywhere, we've talked about this a couple times, are expecting an increase in demand for therapy services. If you haven't yet seen an uptick in inquiries, I put out a poll earlier this week, and some of you are experiencing that uptick. If you're not yet, you should expect to. And if your marketing is positioning you in the right way, you will hopefully be seeing more clients come knocking, more potential clients looking for your services. Psychology today is really important and is about to be even more important because it's often the first place that people land during a Google search. If you go ahead and search for therapy services in your area, Psychology Today usually ranks even above private practice websites. So even if you have an SEO-friendly website, which you should, it's possible that Psychology Today is actually showing up even higher than that. So that means that people going out and looking for therapy, especially for the first time, are going to land on Psychology Today. That means that we can be confident that your ideal client is there and is looking for your services on Psychology Today. So for a small monthly fee, you can guarantee that you're getting in front of people every single month. That is why Psychology Today is so important, and it's why your profile needs to be in a really good position to stand out and to get found by these people as they are, coming, kind of flocking to Psychology Today in the coming weeks and in the coming months. So today we're going to talk about something that, strangely, I don't see talked about. There are a couple trainings out there, free courses, paid courses. I offer a template on Psychology Today, but there's a lot of people around the private practice world talk about Psychology Today, but few of them actually talk about what I'm going to talk about today, which is understanding the analytics and using data, using numbers. You don't have to be good at math, but using numbers to identify where the weaknesses in your profile are. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. Every single month, Psychology Today sends you analytics. Hopefully you've seen those. If you haven't, search in your email, whatever one is associated with your Psychology Today profile, for the subject line monthly update. That is what it comes in. And Psychology Today gives you 5 data points every single month. 1, searches for help in your city or zip code, views to your profile, emails sent to you, clicks to your website, and phone calls to you. So it's actually really nice of Psychology Today to keep track of these things for you because it means that you can be measuring the success of your profile. If you go back and look at last month's versus the months before, you may see a drop off, especially 2 months before, because of the COVID pandemic. A lot of you saw a decrease in inquiries over those last 2 months. But these analytics are actually giving you really, really, really powerful insight into what is working in your profile, what isn't working, and where you need to be spending your energy. Because I know that if you're paying the $30 a month and no one's calling, then you're wondering why you're paying $30 a month. And it's not because, Psychology Today doesn't work for my niche, or my ideal clients aren't there. The data shows us otherwise. People are looking for your services. We just need to update your profile in a way that connects with them. So if you go back and look at this, I encourage you, if you're on your desktop right now, maybe open a new tab or a new window and go look at your monthly update. Or if you're on your phone, go do this, later this evening or this weekend. Go look at your most recent monthly update and check out what those numbers are. There's a couple really important calculations we can do. Again, you don't have to be good at math, but that's what's going to help us track and understand what's going on in your profile. So one thing to know is percent of profile views. All that means is out of the number of people that are searching for help, how many are clicking into you? So you would take the views of your profile and divide it by the total number of searches. This is going to tell you how compelling your profile is. How compelling your profile is. When someone goes into Psychology Today and says, I'm looking for a trauma therapist in Nashville, hundreds of people show up. It's randomized based on, the weird algorithm that Psychology Today uses. But I am going to go ahead and click into a profile that is compelling to me, that speaks to me in those first 1 to 2 sentences, because that's all that's shown when I'm scrolling Psychology Today. So this percent of profile views is going to show us how effective we are at capturing people's attention. Then percent of website clicks. That is, if you take the number of clicks divided by the number of people that viewed your profile. So if they went ahead and clicked into your profile and then clicked over to your website, we know that number of clicks. And then percent of direct outreach. That means people that are emailing or calling directly from Psychology Today. Usually these numbers are fairly low. A lot of times people are going to want to go into your website or something like that before reaching out, but it still certainly does happen. I know that, you guys will get emails or phone calls from Psychology Today. Hopefully they're not spam. I know that has happened. So try and take some of those out if you know that you've gotten quite a few, a couple spam emails or phone calls lately. But direct outreach would be the number of email and phone calls you've gotten divided by the number of people that viewed it. So of all the people that have viewed it, did they reach out? These 3 metrics, I want you to track over time. So my suggestion, if you've been on Psychology Today for a year or 6 months, go back a year or 6 months and calculate these 3 things, and then go to maybe January or February. Now, I suggest January or February because coronavirus has really just thrown a wrench into these things, and we want to measure across the most consistent time period. So going into March and April, probably you saw that dip. So go back to before that dip, because that's going to show you, unless you've done any big overhaul of your profile, it's going to show you in general how it's performing. So the question to ask yourself as you compare those numbers, are they increasing? What metric isn't increasing? What's decreasing? And what does that mean? So profile views, we talked about this. If you are not seeing an increase in the number of people clicking into your profile, or if that number isn't high enough for your liking, that tells you automatically in full confidence that your hook isn't doing its job. So your hook is those first 1 to 2 sentences of your profile, and it is what people see when they're scrolling Psychology Today. It is the most valuable real estate of your entire profile, because if you can't capture people's attention there, the rest of your profile doesn't matter, right? It's the most important space. And so if that number isn't high enough for your liking, if you're seeing it decrease or not increase, that is a sign that you need to do some optimization there. Some good examples of hooks are those that call out the exact problem that your ideal client is facing and uses language really, really familiar to them. So are you struggling with food restriction and binge eating? Okay, we know you're talking to someone that's binge eating, right? Have you experienced a large trauma and are paralyzed by the idea of getting out of bed? Really speaking directly to someone, that experienced trauma. Getting older can be challenging in a lot of ways. Okay, we know you're speaking to seniors. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a question. It can take on a whole bunch of different sort of formulas. I use in my Psychology Today profile template, I offer 4 different hook formulas you can use. So you can be creative about this, but the goal here is that you're speaking directly to that person. So if you're looking at your weekly update data and you're seeing that your profile views aren't as high as you want them to be, invest in optimizing your hook. And I know it feels like, well, that's just 1 to 2 sentences, but it's so important. What is going to capture the attention of someone as they're scrolling Psychology Today to be like, oh my gosh, she's a grief counselor. That is why I'm here. That's what you need to be calling out there. So if your profile views aren't high enough, we know it's your hook. Website clicks. If your website clicks are high, but you're still not getting many clients, if you have quite a few people that are viewing your profile and you're pretty happy with that, and you're seeing that quite a few of them are clicking over into your profile, maybe 5% or higher of a website click-through rate, that shows you that your website probably isn't doing its job and isn't pulling its weight. So instead of updating your Psychology Today profile, you actually need to hop over to your website and optimize that. It means your Psych Today is doing its job, but the website isn't closing the deal, right? So we really need to make sure that your website is matching and reinforcing what you're saying in your Psychology Today profile, so that someone that reads your profile and connects with you there can go over onto your website and is just an extension of your profile, and it matches the language and it continues to reinforce that awesome expertise that you have. If your website clicks are low, or if your direct outreach is low, maybe both of these are low, that means that your Psychology Today profile is not doing a good job of connecting and resonating with your ideal client in the profile itself, right? You've only got 640 characters in paragraph 1 and 360 characters, and then 640, 360, 360, that's what it is. 640 in your first paragraph and then 360 characters in the next 2 paragraphs. That's all you have to compel someone to click into your website, reach out to you directly, and ultimately to become a client on Psychology Today, right? You don't have a lot of space and you have to use that space well. So if these numbers are not high enough for your liking, if you aren't getting a direct outreach or a website click for at least every if those numbers aren't 2, 3, 5 or above percent when combined, that's a sign that we need to update how your profile is connecting with people. Too often I go into Psychology Today profiles and they are all about the practitioner. They are all about the therapist, and instead they need to be all about your client. Your client, if they're coming to Psychology Today, think of what that must be like to be sitting at work. Maybe it's 2:12 p.m. on a Friday and you realize, oh my goodness, I am overwhelmed and I'm finally ready to search for a therapist. So I type it into Google, I land on Psychology Today. I am so motivated by the state that I am in, right? The problem that I am facing. I want someone to show me that they understand that. I don't care yet that you are certified in EMDR, that you do mind-body exercises, or that you have 25 years of experience, or that you're a social worker versus a LMFT. Those things don't matter to me. What matters to me is that you get my problems. And what's the easiest way to show that you get their problems? To talk about them, right? Your profile needs to be about your client. The framework that I use, the framework that's in use in my Psychology Today profile template, the framework that I've used when I've written Psychology Today profiles on behalf of my clients is like this. Paragraph 1, talk about problems, right? You're going to have a really great hook. We talked about that so that you compel someone to click in. And then in this first paragraph, I don't want you to talk about yourself at all. I want you to stay focused on your client. Paint a word picture of what their life looks like right now. Here at 2:12 p.m., what does my life look like that's leading me to therapy? How is it affecting my relationships or my mood or my marriage or my work or whatever that is? Paint a word picture of what's going on right now. That's what that first paragraph is all about. You're not even going to talk about yourself yet. Then earn yourself the right to introduce yourself in the next paragraph by talking about relief. Talk about how therapy with you is going to get them there. That's what that second paragraph is all about. What approach do you take? What's a session with you like? What are you going to work on together? And ultimately, what type of relief are they going to be experiencing? And then in that third paragraph, this is where you did work really hard to get here. You are certified in a whole bunch of different modalities. This is where you can begin to mention that. In that third paragraph is where you can start to establish credibility and really introduce yourself. And then please, please, please don't forget this. Almost as important as a hook is a call to action in the end of your Psychology Today profile. Yes. Is there a button to click to your website, a button to email you? Yes. Tell them what you want them to do. reach out to me today to schedule a free consultation. That is way more compelling than ending with a Brene Brown quote and expecting them to go ahead and scroll back up, click the button and reach out. Whereas instead, if you can say, schedule a free consultation with me today, I can't wait to hear from you. That is active language that is going to compel them to go ahead and reach out. So if those direct outreach numbers are low, or if your website click numbers are low, that is a sign that you need to be spending some serious time working on how you connect with your client inside of this profile. And if you follow that framework where you talk about problems, solutions, and then credibility and experience, that is the same exact framework I've used to help other clients in all kinds of niches get clients, my own clients, therapists, get clients in whatever type of niche. So no matter what niche you're in, your ideal client is living on Psychology Today, looking for someone like you. And if your profile can go ahead and stand out, you're going to absolutely get your money's worth from your $30 a month over and over and over, right? Over and over and over. Studies show that the average therapy client is worth upwards of $1,600 in revenue to a practice. So if you can get just one client a month, we have recouped our investment over and over and over on that $30, right? You just have to make sure your profile is pulling its weight. Otherwise, you are throwing $30 into the trash and not getting the results that you want. And I don't want that for you. So go ahead and take a look at your monthly updates. Compare this data. Each time that comes in, do these calculations again, revisit this training if you need to, and say, okay, what's increasing, what's decreasing, what do I want to improve on, and test things. That's the beauty of Psychology Today. It's not the same as your website that needs to be very, very consistent over time. Your Psychology Today can be tweaked. Maybe your hook could be better. Oh, let's talk to a different, type of client in this way. Let's try this type of thing. It is a great place to experiment, but only if you're experimenting from a place of knowledge, right? Only if you have some data behind you to make some decisions instead of just, as we call, throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. We don't want to do that with your profile. So friends, if you are not getting the results that you want from Psychology Today, it's not because Psychology Today doesn't work. It just means that your profile might need some work. And so I hope that you can go back and look at this data and identify some trends and make some changes and ultimately start to see those numbers increase over time as clients find you, realize that you are the expert that they're looking for, and ultimately reach out to you and become a paying client. That is the goal here. And with this formula and with this approach, you can absolutely do that. Let me make sure we don't have any questions here as we were working together. Want to make sure I answer anything real time that I'm able to. All right, doesn't look like I have any questions, which is great. If you do have any questions as you're doing this, maybe you want someone to take a look at your new Psychology Today profile. Maybe you make some updates. Drop that in the comments here or drop it in a post in the group. You are absolutely allowed to ask for feedback inside of this group. I know some other psychology or some other therapist groups don't allow you to promote in any way, shape, or form. But if you want some help on your marketing, then pop your link in there and ask for some feedback. Let's support each other. Let's network and let's ultimately help each other be successful, because that is the goal here. So thank you so much, friends. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. I'll be back next week with another marketing training, and I'll talk to you soon.